Since arriving in Busan, Ira van Heel has discovered new aspects of the local culture. This culture should have been hers, but she was one of more than 170,000 South Korean babies illegally sent for international adoption over more than 30 years. As a result, this young woman grew up in Belgium and then started her family. This is her 7th stay in South Korea, and she wanted to spend 4 full months in the city of her biological family.
I just wanted to get a sense of Korean life, just these snapshots. I know that we can never know how it would have been if I would have stayed. I just wanted to smell and taste and see and feel and hear aspects of Korean life.
In 2012, when Ira was just 30, she managed to find her biological family. She then discovered a reality very different from the stories she had been told since childhood. Her biological mother was not a prostitute. She lived with her father and the 3 other children they had together. Due to a lack of resources, the couple abandoned their baby at birth. They then quickly retracted their decision, but it was already too late. After more than 2.5 years of investigation, the Korean Truth and Reconciliation Commission issued a report at the end of March, finding the Korean government guilty of fraud in the process of these forced adoptions.
I don't think the report was far enough, the recommendations, and they didn't finish their work because there was only a little amount of the files or adoptees files that was considered.
International adoptions began in the 1950s at the end of the Korean War. At the time, the country was very poor. These adoptions reached their peak in the 1970s and 80s with the development of numerous private agencies that enriched themselves through questionable practices. In many cases, the procedures intended to verify that the biological parents had indeed given their consent to an adoption were not followed. But this member of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission regrets that this investigation can't go further.
This investigation recognizes for the first time that international adoption constitutes state violence, which is very significant. But our commission cannot investigate private organizations. That's why there are limits.
Those private adoption agencies include HOLT, the first one created in 1956. But for Ira, responsibility also lies with the host countries. Along with 7 other adoptees, she decided to file a complaint against the Belgian state.
Goedemorgen.
Hi. Ik ben blij dat we even bellen om ook dat stuk weer even terug te kunnen vastpakken.
Het is heel raar, want er zijn ondertussen ook in België natuurlijk ook allerlei dingen aan het gebeuren.
Wat de Vlaamse overheid gaat doen nu, dat is nog heel onduidelijk. En vooral ook wat dat federaal gaat doen, is heel belangrijk. With Era and me, we have a copy-paste history. It's incredible. Sometimes we are gobsmacked ourselves to discover each time that there are so many similarities.
As a child, Jung always believed she was an orphan. But when she discovered that her biological mother was in fact alive, she steadfastly sought to gather as much evidence as possible to prove the illegality of her adoption, despite the difficulties assessing her personal information.
This is the so-called certificate for renouncement for adoption. I wasn't an orphan. This is what the system was all about. You just declared children orphans, so you didn't need their parents' permission to ship them abroad for adoption.
Alongside a photo of her biological family, who she met in 2006, Jung treasures a photo of her now deceased Flemish adoptive parents. She holds no resentment toward them, but rather a strong desire for justice. According to her, the Belgian government turned a blind eye to the practices of adoption agencies within its own territory.
They withheld information from adoptive parents, also passports and identification, proof of identification of the children. And this is also important in our lawsuit because we are convinced that those three agencies that no longer exist, but that there are still documents about our past and about our identities somewhere in attics and maybe in cellars of ex-employees of those adoption agencies.
This complaint in Belgium could inspire other communities of South Korean adoptees around the world.